Good day, friends, and make sure the phone's turned off. And just a brief story. I went out with my wife yesterday, and I was wearing an inherited coat, and from Tom Fitzgerald, the the deceased husband of a very dear friend of mine, Linda. And I stayed with Linda for a week when I was in Michigan, and she had laid out one of those carry bags of his clothing, and it was the most beautiful bag of clothes. It was like opening up my life, opening up an amazing gift, because I've always been on my own in a way in terms of finances. So I I had a good life. I had a good home, and abusive older brothers, but who didn't, in a way. But even though there was a lot of trauma in the field in my home, I think many of us who just had or have a loving mother, just that knowing that you're loved can carry you through really difficult times. But Tom Fitzgerald was a dapper dude. He just was elegant, and his clothing was just so perfect every time. And his wife said, I told her about how many compliments I've been getting on the clothes that I'm wearing that have come from him. And she said that, she texted me and said, it's true. Tom's general elegance always made a statement and somehow attracted respectful attitudes. And people were just commenting, this one coat is just, gosh, it's just so beautiful. And I've been wearing his large felt hat. And she says, as he liked to remind me, dress the way you want to be treated. And boy, what a privilege it is for me to wear the clothing of such an amazing person who had exquisite taste in clothing. And it was an interesting day today, as it is every day, when one gets on this ascension pathway, this healing journey towards a new world. We can, certain of us, and this isn't the way everybody needs to go, but certain of us really had to quit dampening down our nervous system with alcohol or whatever, just to escape a little bit, take the edge off. But those of us who really realize that this is a time to heal, and it was 4 years ago right around the time I was asked to set up the World Healing Field, the end of January in 2020, was when I was asked if I would stop drinking alcohol. And I never felt, besides a few maybe younger day binges that were brief and painful, I felt like I was fairly moderate in my consumption, but I understood when my guides asked me to just stop drinking altogether. I noticed a real change in my awareness. When I was less dulled down by the alcohol, I was more alert to what I felt, which, in the long run is a good thing. In the short run, it can be an uncomfortable thing. So yesterday, I did some work with ancestral healing codes with Thomas Hubel, the mystic trauma therapist. And I decided and I signed up for a 5-month course with him. So we're going to be continually working with clearing the ancestral field so we become more fully present in the moment. And we also are assisting in clearing the world field of all these unresolved traumas with all these cultures and people and the whole chaotic, patriarchal, warring power over 13,000 years. We're just in the process of clearing it. And if I understand it correctly, from telepathically speaking with Abrahamanad, who I've come to understand is the new soul of the earth. And in 1997, he told me that we were going to be going through a 28-year cleansing process, is how he referred to it. That there would be 7 years of physical cleansing, 97 to 2004, 7 years of mental, 2004 to 2011, 7 years of emotional cleansing, 2011 to 2018, and 7 years of spiritual cleansing, 2018 to 2025, which is coming right up. We're 4 months away. The end of the cleansing cycle is March 24th of 2025. The start of the new cycle is also the 24th, because it's a yellow Sunday where cycles end and cycles begin. So on that day, this old cycle of 13,000 years and the cleansing cycle of 28 years comes to a close and the new thing opens up. And then on the 25th is the download of more of the new energies into the earth. And I participate in a lot of those energy downloads. But yesterday, I just felt so good, like the best that I could remember feeling. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I just felt like so good. And I noticed a bit of my clinging energy to, I feel this good, I want to always feel this good. And I felt like I was clinging to it a bit. And then early this morning, I woke up in a state of panic and things working out in the dream world. And I ended up getting out of bed about 5 o'clock and setting things up for myself to begin doing my breath work and my yoga and then my qigong, because I was so panicky. I really have nothing in my world around me that is not done. I have no things that I know of that are on my mind. But the world healing field. And that's constantly in my awareness. And so when I have this panicky energy, I just feel like something's going on in the world that needs help to clear this energy. So I did. Worked on it for quite a while, came upstairs later, and my wife, who is very energetically aware, which I say that with the greatest respect, but she's an energetically aware medicine woman. They're referred to as witches back in the day when the men were threatened by women's ability to heal, and they felt like they needed to take them out with fire. That was what they made up, like burn them and we'll be over their disruption. So all that's being healed. But I came upstairs and she talked to me about how she was awakened around the time I was by this panic energy. And then she hadn't really been able to clear it. And so I had cleared it, so I began working. I probably had been working with her earlier, helping her to release that, but then I released it from my own system, and then she began to release it from her system. And then we went out. She had an appointment, and I went with her to the appointment. And she came out of the appointment feeling like the appointment with the naturopath had shifted things, and she just felt really kind of alive and alert and present, and had come out of that energy she had been working with. And so we left, and we needed to go do a little bit of grocery shopping, and I felt this heavy, heavy energy. And so I said, okay, I first felt my attachment to how good I'd been feeling the day before. And I felt like, no, your position on the planet is to ground disturbance. So here it is. So here is the grief that's now coming out. And so here's your work. So just do your work. And so I did. But I thought about how powerful the effect was on me to feel that rise, to first work with the panic in the morning, then working with the grief, the heavy, heavy grief in the later part of the morning, and then finding this depth of anger coming out. And anger is the emotion that in the past I've had the least ability to work with. I've had experiences where anger turned to violence, and I had the experience of the violence, and I felt the anger coming before the violence occurred. So I tend to feel apprehensive when I feel anger because of what anger sometimes leads people to do. And I began working with the anger. I've gotten to a place where a large percentage of the grief and the anger are released. But now I'm in a place of feeling both this really low abdomen anger and this heart area grief. So just for the next couple minutes, I'm going to just really tune into both of those and see if they can be shifted. And many of you who are getting used to Arlen, we may get used to him again, but currently he's backing off because I need to embody what he's taught me already. And if he just keeps going, I don't embody the things he's taught me. So right now I'm embodying the things he taught me. And this is one of the things he taught me, is just to be very aware of what you're feeling. And then be aware if you were holding on to it. And if you were holding on to it, stop. And he showed me how I had a belief that in order to heal, one needed to struggle and or suffer and or both. Suffer and struggle, they're about the same things. But I feel like I've cleared that energy, that habit. I'm still clearing the habit because I can tell that these energies were showing up for me in the, early morning, mid-morning, late morning, and now it's coming up on 1 o'clock. And it took me that time to come to a place of realizing I could let it go, which I did. So now it released. If you tune into this and you felt those feelings for yourself, or even if you didn't feel those feelings for yourself, but maybe felt them when I was feeling them, you became aware of them, you may have felt those just release. Both the lower abdomen and the heart both release that energy. And now things are very different. They're not kind of high end like they were yesterday, but it's very different, the shift that's taken place. So that's it on this first video for today. I'm glad that we could work with this together, and I hope that it's really helpful for you that I did so. And just to kind of mess with you slightly, namaste.